everybody. I just gave that to everybody free of charge. This is Current Cinema Podcast. We are back, episode 5. I'm Jeff and joined by Kyle. You know the drill. You know what's up. We are, this week, something special. We're going to hit the ground running with the MCU and where it's at now. But we got to talk about the latest entry first that just came out last week, right? Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Quantumania. Or if you want to more accurately title it, Kang, Quantumania, and Ant-Man is also there.
I'm glad that you dropped the Wasp because so did the movie. So.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah, Janet's here.
That's right. It's like her and Janet and Hank were like having conversations on their own, and they had to kind of like shoehorn in Hope in there to be like, oh yeah, that's right, she's in the scene too.
Yeah.
Guys,
right.
Can you not? That's it? That's all they gave her?
She should have almost been split up. Never mind, we'll get to all that stuff.
So, we're not really going to do the what has been the usual routine of the first 4 episodes where, you know, we talk about something new we've watched, something old we watched, and then we do like a pick 5.
Yep, that's how you say it every day.
I definitely say it. And, at the end, I'll still revisit the box office for last weekend to see what America how they're spending their dollars.
I like the weekly update because I don't have to look it up anymore. I can get it right here. So
just a morbid curiosity, and also it kind of, you know,
it does interest me, and I usually do look it up every week, and I'm like, okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes there's 3 movies in there that I'm like, we'll never see those. I will never see those, ever.
Right. Let's see them battle it out for 3rd place while Avatar is still in.
Yeah, I know. Good Lord. Yeah. Oh, is Avatar still in theaters? James Cameron never talks about it. Never. All right.
He hasn't got me yet. I got weak a couple of days. Like, I was like really bored a couple of days. I was like, maybe we'll go see that movie. And I go, I don't have a whole day. Never mind.
I know, you need to carve out.
It almost happened a couple times though.
Yeah. Wow. I would have been blown the F away if that happened.
Yeah, I got weak. But, you know.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, you and I saw it on I think we both saw it opening night, Thursday night.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's kind of like event viewing. Like we have to do it. Like we are both mega MCU fans. You know?
There's only feels like fleeting moments of obligation, like the day of, but like I want to see these movies day one.
Yeah, me too.
I mean?
Me
like
too.
there's still a big old nerd in this giant man who just or little old nerd in this giant man or whatever. A little kid in this man who
there's a little kid in this man. That sounds
there's no one's in anything right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just a huge fan, and like I'm always going to be a big fan. And these movies could tank like 10 movies in a row, and I'd still be like, well, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna go see the next one, you know. Yeah, because they're my popcorn flick, and we've talked about this plenty of times. Where it's just like it's still our fun thing. So
it is. It's very much so. I'm just as excited as. I mean, every single time I walk out of a post Endgame movie, every single time I walk out of one, it's other than like, is it Far From Home? No, that's not it. Away From Home, whatever the fuck the one with all the Spider-Man in it.
The one Peter Forgetsies. That's I think what that movie's called.
Whoopsie daisies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Spider-Men now. Spoilers on the movie, I guess. But
whatever.
No Way Home. No Way Home.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. So like that movie was the only movie that I walked out of going, wow, like holy crap! I can't wait to see what the MCU does next. But the rest I've been kind of like, even though I really like Shang-Chi and Black Widow, like some other phase.
Shang-Chi was awesome. Yeah.
You know, you still kind of come away with going, all right, well, if that's the last Marvel thing I see, then so be it. But then they start trailer marketing and stuff for the next Marvel thing, and I immediately get hyped again. Like I don't have to beat a crap on them.
I'm such a consumer for all the like, and we're gonna tell you our like, you know, our plan for our next 3 phases. I'm like, great, yeah, I'm super into that.
So
yeah,
absurd.
I like to know. I want to know the roadmap. You know, I want to know where and when to put my excitement. You know, because it's just fun, man. You know, all these movies are fun.
You and I have never really changed in that regard. Like since 2008, whenever they started Iron Man and started hinting at Avengers.
Yeah.
nothing has really changed in us. We've been
along for the ride the whole time, and
exactly.
I never thought we'd be here. That's for sure. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
Not with a
the
third
Iron Man movie with the guy who just got off of drugs like a few years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I was like, this is never gonna go anywhere.
What a big swing! And there were apparently now we know there was like no script really. Like they were.
Just they were just shooting. Dude, is Jon Favreau just like a secret genius?
I know.
Like, he's just been an undercover genius this entire time. He's like, we just threw that movie together and we didn't use special effects either. I'm like, what?
Tony Stark built it in a cave. So did Jon Favreau, apparently.
Was it like 7? It was like 80% like real practical effects in that movie or something like that. Like,
I think so. Something along those
lines.
I know the suit was real. The suit was definitely real.
So crazy.
I don't know if it was an Iron Man 2, but I know that they CGI'd the outfit being put on him in the racetrack because you can tell.
Is the suit in Black Panther 2 real?
I know. Now nobody wears any practical suits. Actually, you know what? I got to give Ant-Man credit here to dive into the movie, I guess. Suit. Those look like they're wearing suits. It doesn't feel like Spider-Man or anything where it's like, that's a CGI floating head right there or whatever.
Sure.
You know, with the exception being when they put on their masks. Like, I feel like the suit neck down, they're in the suit. But when they put on a helmet, I'm like, in the way we see their eyes, I'm like, oh, that's CGI. And it's not like super obvious unless you're us and you watch movies a shit ton, you know, in your everyday life. But yeah, I got to commend them for that. At least, you know, at least we went back to practical suits because they damn sure weren't wearing a practical suit in Black Panther.
I promise you they weren't. Like, I don't know if there was a single scene that she was wearing a practical suit, which is crazy to me.
Even, I guess, kind of spoilers, but like, what's her name? Okoye gets a suit, right? And one of her companions. And even that looks incredibly CG'd, like obviously CG'd.
So CG, yeah. Which is, I mean, I get, man, you CG. I am not an anti-CG person. It's just, you know,
I know.
With the growing problems with the use of CG and their just frivolous use of it in ways that just like whatever, just have the last final battle at the end of our big movie, you know, be CG. Right. It's not a big deal, you know. And it's like, but you didn't need it to be. It was two people fighting on a beach.
And kind of how they're like, right, exactly, yeah. It's just been people punching each other, and they even had that name in too a little bit. But it's the fact that they're CGing all this stuff that doesn't need to be CG'd, and on top of that, not treating visual effects artists very well. At least in terms of like what they're asking, like they're just constantly changing their minds on them, lowballing them to the point where like, well, if we don't accept this job, then we'll be blackballed from the industry. You know, like they have to accept, you know, Marvel's contract or they might not get work again in Hollywood. It's really crappy hearing all that stuff about visual effects, but like,
and it feels like it's always kind of been an uphill battle for them, and like they've never gotten their due, you know?
Right. Yeah, I feel like it kind of dropped off a little. It started dropping off a little bit in 2018 when they started doing like 4 movies a year, and then they started adding shows.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still looked great in the big movies like Endgame.
Endgame and Infinity War looks great.
Yeah, they look fantastic.
Very expensive looking movies.
Absolutely. Far From Home, I'm convinced was almost exclusively green screen. I am pretty much convinced they did not go Far From Home at all. They went to a studio in LA and shot all of that.
They weren't even in New York? What do you mean?
Right.
I'm getting sweaty. Oh, God.
Well, Ant-Man itself, the Quantumania of the movie, if you can glean, you could probably glean this from the trailers, but for anybody that hasn't seen the trailers, we'll just give you a brief like overview of what it's about.
And we're not going to spoil it right away.
But this is a spoiler cast, and we'll let you know when we start diving into spoilers. So it starts with, you know, Scott Lang is kind of dealing with a newfound fame. And again, I'm not going over anything that's not in trailers.
Right.
But he's dealing with a newfound fame where people kind of know who he is. He's getting free coffees and stuff like that. You know, like he basically, I think, I don't know if this is in trailers or not, but it's not too much of a spoiler to say he wrote a book about his experience.
Yeah, but you hear about this book and like lots of other things. Yeah, like in Miss Marvel, you hear about this book and like him going on podcasts and like kind of broadcasting exactly what happened moment to moment during like Infinity War and Endgame, which is super funny to me, by the way. Like, I know, this blabbermouth is like, and then a talking squirrel came out, you know, and but yeah, I think that's funny. It would be Scott.
That is kind of a fun. Yeah, it would be a Scott thing to do. this iteration of Scott, at least the Paul Rudd version of it.
Yeah,
It makes a lot of sense that he would
really
do that.
Paul Rudd thing to do. Yeah.
Right. So in that sense, I guess he's not really doing the suit thing and doing the heroic stuff. But anyway, all that aside, he still has a life that he's built and is comfortable with Hope and her family, her parents, and of course his daughter Cassie, who's now played by a different actor.
For the
who I would
third
argue
time.
is a much more talented actor. Like, I mean, not that we've seen a lot from the child actor that was playing Cassie.
Who did fine. Yeah.
She was great. Actor. She was great as an adorable little kid.
Yeah.
I think she's in the long anticipated movie adaptation of Are You There? God, It's Me, whatever the fuck. I forget the name.
Margaret?
Yes, the Judy Blume novel. I think she's the lead in that because I'm
stoked for that movie.
The child actor, you sound very stoked. The child actor that played Cassie in Ant-Man 1 and 2 is now old enough to be a teenager in Are You There? God, It's Me, Margaret. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Slow down.
And they're still like, no, we're gonna hire some 28-year-old.
Yeah, she's 20. I think I looked it up. She's like 25. Actor. But I think she's supposed to be 19? Just out of high school, right?
Like I thought I heard 19, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, it seems like she's kind of a drifter of sorts. Like it seems like she definitely finished high school or whatever version of high school she could have done during the blip, and now she's kind of like drifting around through various. She's a problem child basically, and she's causing a lot of mayhem, but for a greater good, for a greater cause. So anyway, that's the dynamic of the Ant family, so to speak. And then Cassie reveals that she has been, with the help of some other people in the family, has been kind of looking into the quantum realm, and that's what you see in the trailers when she like explains that, hey, I found a way to get data from the quantum realm, bring it back up here. But the catch is it's sending a signal down to the quantum realm, and that means whoever is down there, if anybody's nefarious is down there, which of course there is, that's the plot of the movie.
A movie has to happen.
Yeah, movie has to happen. So they get sucked into the quantum realm. Even though the trailer doesn't show this, they do. When Janet asks them to shut it off, they do. Like the trailer doesn't show that. The trailer makes it seem like they're just standing there looking at it,
which is so ridiculous. Yeah.
Which is not what happened at all. That would make them look so dumb. But it was
deer in the headlights. Everyone's like,
what? Turn it off. Just stare at it. Look at that. That's crazy. I hope it doesn't suck us in. Oh God, it's sucking us in. There wasn't any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now they're stuck in the quantum realm. It's like a little bit of like it reminds me of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid a little bit, and because it feels like it's a tiny adventure. Yes,
a very tiny adventure.
You get some giant bugs every now and then. And Honey, I Blew Up the Kid is quite literal in this sense in some ways.
Yeah.
Not to spoil it. I'm not spoiling it, dude. Or am I? I don't know. We'll find out in T-minus 15 minutes or whatever. But anyway, that's like the premise is they get stuck in the quantum realm and they don't realize that Kang is there, which again, he's all over the marketing. Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
As Kang, not He Who Remains, as actual Kang.
Yeah.
The Conqueror that we know from the comics, at least some of us do. Wasn't really given much of an origin. He was very vague about his origin in this movie, and I think that was deliberate. But the thing that I really loved about the movie, which ended up putting me in a positive camp on it, was how well they wrote Kang, even though they didn't really give away, like, oh, my actual name is this. Like they didn't really give you his full backstory. They just gave you enough. But the fact that they made him as big of a threat as he is and delivered on that, like I felt like they delivered on it big time. They made him feel like a big effing deal. So when he showed up and he started wrecking stuff and he felt, I don't know, he definitely felt like the most powerful person in the room for a bit there,
Yeah, for sure.
And that was the thing I loved about it the most, was it was a Kang movie, more or less.
It was.
In some ways.
I feel like the more Ant-Man movies go on, the less Ant-Man are in these movies.
Yes.
So like last movie, he kind of lost this movie to the Wasp, which was fine, and and in this movie, even further so. Like it's just like this is definitely the first step in the new phase. Like it's barreling towards the stuff that we're going to be dealing with here in the near future.
It is definitely a Kang movie featuring the Ant family, which does mean, and I guess this would be a criticism, and you might agree with it too, is that it's not so much an Ant-Man movie. Like the last two Ant-Man movies were very much an Ant-Man movie. Like, you're very aware that it's his story, and the stakes are small, quite literally. Very small stakes, very personal stakes, and things that take place over the course of like a day or two, like in the last couple of movies, and you get a lot of the Ant family, like, kind of bickering and stuff like that. Whereas in this one, it's definitely like they're split up, and so you're getting a lot of Kang, and you're getting a lot of extra side characters in the quantum realm, some of which play really well to me. Some took some time to get comfortable with. I will say that I think I brought this up on the Current Gen podcast. I liked the Jelly character; he made me laugh, and the Mind Reader. And
I like the Mind Reader guy for sure.
Really about it.
And name any of those people.
Yeah, I know. There's like, you got Jelly Guy.
The dude and the guy. And
he's voiced by he's voiced by the same actor that played Kurt in Ant-Man 1 and 2, who was a member of Ant-Man's, who was a member of Ant-Man's crew, the ragtag group of thugs or whatever you want to call them. That was also kind of
heisters.
They were trying to replace them with the Quantum Realm Rebellion people, and
they've made sure that they were like quirky too. And I was like, these are the characters we're going to be like dealing with the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it's like one movie worth of an appearance, they're never going to show up.
Yeah, it felt very manufactured to me, where it's like, oh, here's our people for this movie,
very much so.
And I definitely didn't care about most of these characters, except for a couple of their lines were funny. So there's some of the kind of slack of the movie.
They tried to bring that in as like a staple of the franchise, the Ant-Man, at least the trilogy, of just including a group of ragtag people. Yeah. Because we know now the Ant family, even though we didn't see a lot of it in this movie, they get along pretty well. Like, I mean, aside from the Cassie stuff that he's still wrestling with, how he lost like 5 years with her and stuff like that. By the way, that ended up kind of not being the thing, huh? Anyway, I'll dive into what I was about to sidetrack into. But eventually,
no, it's not about that at all, really.
Yeah, because the trailer was like made it seem like Kang was telling.
No, the trailer even says like, verbatim. Hey,
I'll give you your time.
You were missing time. I can give that to you.
Right.
And he's like, oh,
Ooh, yeah. And I kind of light up. He's like, ooh. And that's kind of not really how this went down at all. That was for
some misleading. Somebody's getting sued over this trailer. That's
you know what? And some court said that was fine. So this is gonna be a shit show. Oh no! I just thought about that. Oh no! I don't remember what the trailer was. I think it was a Margot. No, it was Anna de Armas. Remember?
Yeah.
It was a movie she was in the trailer for, but she ended up not making the cut for the final. Imagine cutting Anna de Armas from your movie, but whatever.
Yeah. She's on fire right now, and you're like,
a bunch of customers, like a very small class action lawsuit, but still, it was enough people sued to say we bought tickets to see Anna de Armas and she wasn't in it, and they won. So now it's like Marvel can't misadvertise anything now. Like they love doing that misdirect.
Remember when Hulk proper was in Infinity War? Me neither. Let's sue Jeff. Let's go. Let's sue so hard.
Oh man, they even put that in a deleted scene where it shows him hulking out of the suit. And it's like a big earned moment. And I'm like, damn, you left that out of the movie?
It's not the same thing, but in the Joker, when he comes down on the stairs, and that's supposed to be epic, but instead it's really stupid because the song choice. They don't alter it. It's just the music's different, and it changes the whole. I'm going to sue about that one, too.
Yeah. It's the sports song, right? Hey!
I like that movie a lot. I hate that scene more than most scenes in a lot of movies.
You know what? It doesn't help that it's iconic imagery for sure, but like, my God, that scene is way too long. It is like,
that's the whole
we're
point.
Still on this.
Everything about it is really bad.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just remember in the trailer being like, that's going to be such a powerful transformation moment for him, and in the movie, it's like so not that at all.
Yeah, I know. It's
Anyways,
like Todd Phillips was going for. I don't know what he was going. That's the thing with that scene. It's like, what are you even doing? Because you're a comedy director, and that scene is not funny or meaningful. So what are you doing? Like, I don't.
It's a nonsense scene.
It was confusing as hell. Anyway, especially when you hire Hildur Gudnadottir to do the score, and she's right there. Make it like an actual scored scene. Where it's like disturbing music and he's dancing in slow-mo, like
right.
That would have made it creepy, dude. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
Instead,
well,
it's this
that's our
upbeat
weekly
thing.
stop at taking DC.
Yeah, taking a crap on DC. Yeah, that's what we do every week.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Speaking of James Gunn, let me tell you something. He's a fake ally to what's his name, Ray Fisher.
That's what Hollywood says too. Is what's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Oh, that guy. Oh, the guy.
We're not hiring that guy.
He's a better actor on Twitter than he is on camera. Anyway, I'm gonna stay out of that drama. I don't know enough about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But so yeah, my gripes with this movie are mainly that, you know, it doesn't really feel like an Ant-Man movie. It feels, the stakes feel a little bigger than that, whereas it was always quite literally a little smaller for Ant-Man. And that did unfortunately mean there was a lack of investment for me, at least, and I think for you as well, with the entire dynamic of the Ant family and how they got split up, and how there's still some stuff that Hope is working out with her parents.
And I didn't really understand, because like they went like a lot of time with Janet and her not having like this weird PTSD about the quantum realm, and like they have gone back there a few times, so like her inconsistency about like what's wrong with the quantum realm was really weird to me, and how everyone turned on her so quickly, like, you've been lying to us. And I'm like, well, she was missing for 30 years, guys, you know, like maybe cut her some slack too. So it was really weird. I was kind of frustrated with her and frustrated with everybody else for a lot of the first part of the movie when they get sucked in, you know, where I'm just like, I don't understand this like fake outrage between everybody that's never addressed the whole movie, because it's all you know. I don't want to get into this.
All of it really takes a back seat to Kang, like the threat that Kang poses to the MCU, basically, which is kind of, I don't know. I can see why some people would go, oh, then it's not a good movie then, because I bought tickets to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I barely saw the Wasp, and Ant-Man was an afterthought.
I'm pretty sure they just CG'd Janet in. I don't even think she was there.
Yeah, she wasn't even there. Let's be real.
She wouldn't get vaccinated, so
was it a pitch meeting or was it a pitch meeting that was like, or it might be maybe an honest trailer or something like that? That they were like, why the hell didn't Janet tell them any of this? Like, we're supposed to believe that a few years have passed. Yeah. And not once did they go, so what happened on there? What was it like? You know, like nobody's said anything.
And she was so willing to let Scott go like back there. Like that's how he got around the blip or whatever. Because like he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go down there and like get some stuff. And Janet's like, go do it, buddy. Just don't hit a time vortex or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there was no like worry about like there's a psychopathic time traveling wizard down there that's you know, like really mad about
and
stuff.
That's not, we can't really blame like Kevin Feige for that. Maybe he didn't really know that Kang was going to be like the next big threat by that point. But I guess you could logically, even though they do like to retroactively do crap, like having that little kid for Iron Man 2 be Spider-Man, which is stupid.
It's so stupid. I don't want to talk about that. That's so dumb.
It's like I feel like I want to blame J.K. Rowling for starting that whole retroactive correction thing where she did a Q&A shortly after Deathly Hallows came out.
Yeah.
And somebody brought up how Dumbledore didn't really have a love life, and she was like, he's gay. And everybody was like, there was nothing in the book about that.
What page was that on? She's like, oh, I mean, page, I just made it up right now.
Yeah, I'm just making it up on the fly. So it was kind of like that a little bit with
Star Wars. Star Wars did the same thing. At the end of Return of the Jedi, like there's an old like rebel guy, and he's got a beard, and they're like, hey, that's Rex. He was one of the clones from the Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, I'm my gosh.
Shut up. Like, I'm a huge fan of what you're trying to do right now. Like, no one's a bigger fan than what you're trying to do right now. Shut up a little bit of that. But they do that shit all the time. That's a 30-year-old movie, you know? Like, and they're like, yeah, that's what that meant.
I have a feeling they're going to try to explain it away, or at least Feige might if he's asked about it, where it's going to be like, no. What Scott was doing in the quantum realm, he wasn't actually going to the actual quantum realm multiverse. He was on a layer above the quantum realm.
Peyton Reed already said literally exactly that.
Really?
So, yeah, no, you literally already called that. So that already happened. Well, he's like, well, it's not really a plot hole. And I'm like, that's cool. It's just a lot to think about whenever, like, the last time I saw these characters, everything was like, you know, great.
That's why the multiverse is a bit of a mess. Like, and it's not... Yeah. It's not really the fault of the writers or anything. It's just a bit of a mess to write around. and to have
even the comics are like this though. It's kind of a like foot stomping, you have 20 or 30 different writers like writing a whole arc of like like the comics versions of the multiverse story.
Have you read the original like Infinity War arc? Because like it's confusing as shit. Like,
dude, it really is, and like and that's like probably just the arc. All the other comics being written around that time kind of fed into it too. So you kind of had to read stuff outside. It was messy, and like, a lot. And so I'm kind of used to things being messy.
If you just stuck to the main Infinity War issues through however many there were, you'd be like, okay, now who's this now? Like every page you'd be like, who the hell is this? Like, what do they do? Like,
right.
Very confusing. So like,
I thought he had all the stones. Why is the stone in his head?
Wait, so this version of Thanos is a good guy now? I'm so confused.
It's super confusing, and that's not the multiverse story. So the multiverse one, like later, like Secret Wars or whatever,
it's for the movies.
It's a total mess. So it's like I guess I'm kind of used to like these stories being a little like messy.
Right. Yeah, me too.
But to discredit it a little bit, it didn't feel like this during the Infinity Saga, where I'm just like, everything kind of feels disjointed and weird and stuff like that. Maybe it finds its footing here.
And then and there are some people that will complain about it, and I'm actually not saying complaint in a negative way where it's like shut up and just enjoy it. I can respect the complaint that, well, it's a multiverse, so there are really no consequences here, right? Like you can just kill so and so, and then 2 movies later they'll show up as a variant of some kind, right? Like, so why invest in anything that's going on? And when people say that, I'm like, yeah, like I get it, but I still love what I'm watching.
And they haven't done it yet,
They haven't, not really,
So and it hasn't happened yet. And it seems like memories are going to play a big theme and everything because they just did that whole WandaVision arc about Vision's memories and memories making the person and yada yada. And if you're stripped of your memories, are you the same person that you were before? So it's like, you just bring a variant over. It's not gonna be Cap. You know what I mean? It's gonna be some weird, universe 6969 Cap or whatever. He's super perverted. He got canceled 3 years ago. Like
Cap.
Problematic Cap. Yeah.
The Captain America you think would exist today, basically. Like the Homelander.
Right. That Captain America turns off his body cam for sure. Like.
Oh my god, dude.
So hopefully they'll still figure out a way to keep the stakes.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
it's just
it is a logical fear, but not something that has been put into practice yet.
And I think
except maybe Loki. I guess
what stoked a lot of people's fears was the Multiverse of Madness visit to the whatever they're called, the Illuminati. That made people go, oh, so this doesn't really matter. Like, I mean,
we've met a whole bunch of cameos and. What happens to him for sure.
Right. So people have that definitely have that concern with this whole story. Really, like if they waste one person, does it really? But obviously, like you pointed out, though, if they bring back that same actor to play the same character, are they really the same character? It's kind of the same thing. What you're saying, where it could actually create an interesting dynamic. If I'm not saying this happened in the movie, but imagine it. I mean, it didn't. Not to spoil it, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Imagine if they like straight up killed Scott Lang, and if they brought in a variant, he would not be.
Yeah.
He might be a literal ant.
He's really mad about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just not. You're right. Yeah. I mean, you're right in that.
We'll see, but there's the Doctor Strange thing is a very true thing though. Like, like I didn't mind it. Like, who cares? We're never going back to that universe again.
All the time.
It happens all the time. And maybe, and with my limited reading of comics, like maybe I'm a little more prepared for all the shenanigans that are bound to happen. Because these are definitely feeling more comic booky. All these like this whole phase and all these movies now. And just in terms of their look, like this whole movie looks like a CG nightmare. Not in a bad way, just like it's literally wall-to-wall CGI, except for like Scott standing in the volume, like in his suit, being like, this is all crazy, and it's just like a creative nightmare of just weirdness.
I guess, they had at least 5 minutes in San Francisco, so good for them. They shot on location in San Francisco at the beginning and the end of the movie.
Same street twice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also not San Francisco, it's probably LA, let's be real.
Yeah, right. It might even be Canada,
Vancouver.
Could be Vancouver, yeah.
They've been filming everything there. I mean, maybe Last of Us took up that space for them. Who knows? Anyway, but yeah, I actually enjoyed my time with it. It sounds like the humor landed with me a little better than you. I think I liked it a little more than you, but we both kind of erred on the side of just liking it in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, since I've been kind of maybe liking the other ones in the previous phase a little more, but like having another movie of that kind of like feel and caliber, I'm taking it out a little on this movie, maybe even. So like, but not enough to maybe go, oh, I don't like this movie, because I think you and I both ended up like finding the fun, if you will, in this flick, and both agreeing on a lot of the stuff that we enjoyed. Kang being one of them. Yeah, I'm ready for the big. I'm ready for that big frickin' movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, yeah.
I'm not talking about Avengers. You know, just the next one that we're just like, wow. You know, maybe it's Guardians 3. I don't know. You know, like, but I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that one where we're all like, we're all back, baby. Like, not that you and I are out, but like, I like those moments where people like get reminded, like, oh yeah, these are why I like this movie, and everyone unanimously like praises and yada yada. So that's not going to be this movie, and it hasn't been so far.
It's like the people that go, oh man, I can't think of one like good Marvel movie. Because, you know, people tend to do that when something's on like a downward trajectory. They tend to exaggerate or like demean what came before.
It's never really been good.
It's never really been, and every now and then you get somebody that's not really an MCU fan that goes, okay, but did you actually see Winter Soldier though? Because that shit went hard. Like, you know, occasionally you do have somebody that will, you know, it's just undeniable. Some of these movies are good. You know, I'm not saying Quantumania is that. I'm just saying let's not try crapping on the whole thing.
Yeah. It all doesn't have to die because you've hated a couple movies. You know?
Right, exactly. Like, I didn't feel, the more distance I get from it, I like Love and Thunder less, which is unfortunate. I was really rooting for that movie. I was very hyped for that movie too. Whereas with Quantumania is different. I still kind of feel the same that I did when I walked out of it. I was just kind of like, what was so bad about this? Like, because I think that the Rotten Tomatoes score, not to judge everything off of that, but it is a good gauge. The critic score is like as low as Eternals at this point, which is
great. Like, Eternals is a movie everybody hated for whatever reason.
Yeah. Also, yes, Eternals, that rating doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It is, that movie doesn't really fit in what the MCU has been trying to do so far, because it's got such a distinct director vision behind it. But it's still got some great qualities in it. But Quantumania is not anywhere near bad.
Marvel-y.
Like, yeah, it's very much.
You have your same kind of jokes and your same kind of, you know.
There's even recurring
dynamics
that we've seen many times in past Marvel movies, like over and over, to the point where we're like, I can't believe they're doing this again.
I think that was another thing that you and I were like, you know, like this story again. We're hitting this beat, you know, like
this exact beat.
It's whatever. Like, you know what you're signing up for, man. Like, ice cream comes, you know, in all kinds of flavors, but really it's the same few flavors that everyone goes back to, and you know, Marvel's a really good indicator of you know, doing the tried and true, which is fine. You know,
do you think that they felt they had to up the up everything because it was a third entry, so therefore that's why everything felt more epic and like.
And I think because it was the first movie in the phase, like, I think they were like, everything's got to feel crazy.
Come out swinging,
yeah.
And there were sometimes it did feel they could have gone even crazier for sure.
I felt like they could have gone crazier, but like after, like, we had 3 scenes in the Doctor Strange 2 where it was like, that was wacky, you know. Thought the whole movie was going to be like that, you know. Like, this whole movie is like wacky, you know what I mean? Could have gone wackier, again, like we're saying, because you don't have to like obey by any sort of physics or gravity, even though they do to both of those things. There's the same amount of gravity down there, and the same amount of it's very weird in that way.
They didn't do as much, considering Quantum Realm is full of all these people with their own backstories and history and stuff. They really didn't do as much world building as I thought they would.
There's like old sleazy white dudes in bars, you know, like
they went to, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, and one of them was a bar. Like, we have those here, you know. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like
seen in Guardians twice now. Like,
yeah, and that whole thing where it's like, hey, I'm gonna eat this, so like I can, and that's not a spoiler, you know. This is how they communicate with the people down there. It's not like people glurping at each other. Like, Scott and the locals are able to talk to each other, and vice versa. It's the same way they do it in Rick and Morty. Like, they do, it's like they eat like a thing, you know, intergalactic thing or whatever that allows you to like hear all dialects and speak all dialects or whatever. So even that, I was like,
wonder if because the writer came from Rick and Morty.
No,
so
that was his thing for sure.
Was that his episode?
Oh, I don't know. Really I'm just assuming because it is straight up the same thing.
Yeah,
which is fine, But like even that kind of rang another like chime of like, I've seen this before. So for a movie that should be like as wacky as it looks at some points, it feels very familiar and kind of safe in some ways. But
and unfortunately, there was no like music note fight scene or anything like in Multiverse of Madness.
That seems out of control.
That made you go, whoa! I've never seen this before in Marvel. I'm not saying there was nothing interesting happening, but I mean, like Kyle and I've just been saying, they could have gone way crazier, and even Kang could have been a little more OP than he was. But even still, I still feel they built him up properly because this was an introduction, right? So like, we still have 2 more phases to go. Kang and all his variants.
And this isn't a spoiler either. And I said this on the other podcast. This isn't a Guardians of the Galaxy Thanos thing where it's like, hey, Thanos is in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's in it for like 2 lines.
Yeah, he literally just says it's Josh Brolin's first appearance, and he literally just says, "Hey, go." I think he says Gamora or Nebula. Go find him or whatever. That's it. That's all he says. He pisses off the rest of the movie.
No. It's like way more than that. Like it is a lot of Jonathan Majors acting his face off.
Dude, he's so
when we get to the spoiler sections, I'll drop a couple lines and I was just like, when he said that line, like I had chills and I was like, this is a fucking Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, I know.
But it's his delivery. It's not the stakes of anything. It's just the way that he delivers it. I'm like, oh boy.
I believe it. I believe every word he's saying. Josh Brolin, even though he was a CG character, had the same conviction in his performance.
He did. Yeah, Josh Brolin was great.
Like I believe what he's saying, even if there's a madness to it, Damn. So those are the key takeaways, and we've given our pretty vague impressions on current gen already, so we might be repeating ourselves a little bit, but I feel it's safe to go into spoilers now. I think we've been at it for a little over half an hour, so let's just go right into spoilers. I can't believe they killed off half the Ant family. No, that's not what happened. I'm just testing the waters for all the people.
I really wish something happened. I know Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, like, if you bring me back for Ant-Man 4, you better kill me off. I'm like, the old Harrison Ford contract. I love it. Yeah.
You better kill me off.
You better kill me off. Callista.
My family.
Take the wheel of this plane. I'm passing out. Callista.
That was the go-to Harrison Ford role for him for a bit, was like, my family's in trouble. I gotta help them. Give me back my family. I want my family back.
I want my family. Yeah, the old '90s Han Solo.
But so to get into spoilers, and not that we're diving like right into the meatiest ones, but there's one character that we've been dancing around in this episode and in the current gen as well. MODOK exists.
But you see in the trailer. You see him.
You see in the trailer, but he's more present in the movie than you would expect, for sure.
Yeah.
And he him specifically have rubbed people all sorts the wrong way, even though like I get it. Like I told you,
it's just very uncanny valley, so I get it.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
But also, by the end of it, I was like, I see why they did it this way.
It's also a very Rick and Morty joke to me. Like,
very much
where it's
so.
It felt very. I was like, of course this guy is. It comes from that.
And because when he first appears, you're like looking at the face. It's really just Darren Cross's big head from the first Ant-Man movie. Who is I forget the actor's name. Corey Stoll, that's his name.
Yeah.
From the Strain, right? I think he was in the Strain.
Yeah.
It's just his big head, basically, but even weirder. It looks even more video gamey than
when he's got like a baby body. Like, it's weird, dude. Like his whole deal is weird.
Yeah, MODOK's whole deal, even in the comics, is how do you even do that in live action without making it look stupid and ridiculous? So I mean, they did that.
Well, and it looks dumb. Like, he's a dumb character. You know? So it's so like dumb. This is like James Gunn choosing, like his cast of the Suicide Squad. It's a bunch of like who. Yeah. But then he ends up.
And the villain is
like,
a starfish. Get the hell out of here!
Like it's that kind of like weird, obscure, That's what it kind of felt like to me. Just
Right.
like we're gonna go for it here.
And I actually like remember that in the Avengers game where they kind of took MODOK seriously, and like he started with doing experiments on himself as an Inhuman, and his head just kind of kept growing and growing. And yes, the villain felt tough to beat in that game and stuff, but it still ended up being a giant head you were fighting. Like,
yeah, and like he was a good bad guy for that. Like,
yeah,
like for the story and everything like that. But like the entire time he showed up, I'm just like, I can't wait to punch that big dumb face.
yeah,
like,
I know.
It's not menacing. Like you're not like, ooh, with MODOK.
So I feel like they wrote everybody to react appropriately to MODOK's appearance in the movie. Like, it's just like they're like Darren, like
yeah, which is so hilarious because all of them would have known him. So it's like they all just recognize him and call him by his first name.
Right.
It's
I'm
good.
MODOK. I'm whatever machine only designed for killing or whatever it is.
It's like, isn't that MODOK?
MODOK.
yeah, which I thought was a good joke. I was like, that's pretty good.
Pretty accurate, actually. So like he did come in and he was like immediately destructive and whatnot. And that's when I was like on the fence about the character, and I was like, I don't know about this. And then like he's threatening them before Kang arrives and stuff like that.
They set him up to be like, oh, the hunter is after him, and I'm like, okay, like this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then like when it's him, I'm like, this is stupid.
yeah. But I really came around in his final moments. Like I really did. Like it was when he was fighting. Again, we're in the spoiler section, so like Cassie has a suit. You can see it in the trailer, and she's fumbling her way through it, but she's got her own suit and stuff, and she's fighting MODOK, and she gets big on him and stuff. She's like, it's that whole scene pretty much where she like gets the best of him, and he's like, well, what do? I don't know what to do. And she's like, I don't know, don't be a dick. Like I just thought that whole exchange like tickled me. I don't know why, because it was just so freaking silly. Like this mega villain is like, I don't know what the hell I am anymore. Like,
yeah, and it's just, and it's all stupid. So I have to like kind of take the whole thing. But it's like his heel turn, like his heel to babyface turn suddenly because she told him to stop being a dick. I'm just like, and it's the only thing that saves the day. I was like, this is plot armor. This is flimsy at best. Yeah, that stuff I hated. But like, you couldn't do that any other way. Like, you had to be stupid. You have to get those last like jokes in there where he's like dying and everyone's like, I don't care about this, which I thought was super funny. That's like one of the biggest laughs for the entire experience for me, where everyone's kind of like, hurry up and die faster a little bit. Like it's super funny to me.
Every time he would throw up, it would be like a lot, and everybody would be like, "Oh fuck!"
Not worried at all about him, just disgusted and weirded out. Like
he was such a piece of shit to them. Like the whole time they knew him.
You're my brother, Scott.
I've always considered you brother, and he's like, really? Like, really?
What? Yeah, and like everyone's having the same reaction as you are, which that's always funny. It's like when people on the screen and the audience are having like the same reaction to something in the scene.
Right. Yeah, that is fun. So that's kind of where I turned around on the character. Like I felt like the payoff earned the weirdness of the first few appearances.
His shield's red now, so now Kang doesn't have his. Okay, whatever. Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I ended up coming around on that and ended up loving at least how he ended things, and like how and the reminder from Scott Lang that like he just, after MODOK takes his final breath or whatever, Darren, he's like, man, this has been a crazy day. Like, because
it's literally been like 18 hours.
It's literally been a day, and I just it's one of those things where you don't realize it until a character calls it out, and you're like, holy shit, it has been like just a day.
Right. There are bonds that are forged in this. Yeah. In the matter of minutes, if not an hour, that I have never forged across all my years of living. Right. Which is just another folly of it being like in a day, and like you're trying to believe while everyone's like putting their life on the line for each other outside of the Ant family and stuff like that. And you're just like, I'm not buying any of this shit, you know. But
there's something specifically that I didn't buy at all, and that's the fact that Hope was an afterthought in the whole movie. She's just in the background while more important characters are talking and working through stuff. And yes, she did do some cool action scenes in the bar or whatever, but that was like it. And then there's a moment at the end where Scott it seems like he's stuck. He's stuck in the quantum realm or whatever. And she goes back for him, and it's supposed to be like this big, powerful moment where they're like, "Oh my God, their relationship is so strong," and I never felt that once.
I have never felt chemistry at all between these two. Like, where
Me neither.
Like they got married recently? Like, like in the movie they mentioned at some point where I think they got married, or I don't know. I thought I heard something like that.
Yeah.
So like, because like there's a real mother-daughter relationship going on with like Hope and Cassie, like at the beginning, like there's some, because they're secretly working on the project.
There's a little bit. She's like helping as a mentor of sorts, so like she's like becoming a surrogate mother. But again, they don't really dive into that because they immediately split everybody up.
So again, when they have this big powerful moment at the end, I'm just like, where is this coming from? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And like, how rock and roll would it be if he just got stuck there? Ant-Man's like, I guess I got to figure this out. It's happened before, maybe that's why they didn't do that. It's already happened to him or whatever. Like, he'll logic his way out of that or something.
Right.
But
actually, that was a theory that people had come up with before the movie came out. Was like, well, what if when they come out of the quantum realm, Kang has already taken over on Earth 6, whatever fucking dimension.
Yeah.
What if it's already Kang Dynasty by the time they come out? And the fact that they didn't do it in the movie kind of made me go, oh, all right.
Like, there are some wild person broke down a whole bunch of stuff in the background of the last scene, like, and they have the footage and everything too. Like, all of the extras are staring at the camera in the last scene. Dude. Everyone's wearing purple and green. All the pedestrians, like, there are people like in focus that are wearing purple and green. So that may have actually happened. So like, and him kind of doubting it, like, is him, I don't know, kind of like snapping a little bit, like, or kind of realizing something's off, and then kind of coming right to. Because Kang's ultimate power is that he can just kind of control time. And remember, Loki gets spit out into some, and season 1 gets spit out into something, and Kang is already taking control of like the TVA and stuff like that. So it's like, who knows like what he came back to and anything like that. But there's nothing direct. And I don't know.
I'm glad we're doing this because you watch those videos and I don't. I just tend to like. I don't know why I have like a thing of just like, whatever, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. But that's really cool that somebody was able to point that out in the footage. Now I got to rewatch at least that scene whenever it comes out on Disney Plus and stuff. Because I'm sure it's all there. Like that guy's saying. He
walks up to like a stroller and it's not a baby in it. It's like a dog. Like, everything's just weird and off. You know what I mean? Like, the whole scene. Yeah. And again, all the people in the background, they're like, they're jimming the camera, if you will, or whatever.
Oh, a little bit. Are they really?
Yeah. And they're like, really, and you'll see, which is pretty common practice, but you'll see like the same extras like in front of him and in back of him. That's pretty common, but like, it seems so purposeful with the way that like everything was like framed and everything.
That's what Feige almost spoiled. You might have seen the footage of Feige almost spoiling something on the red carpet, because there were multiple people that were latching onto that as like a means to justify a theory they had. And one of the running theory, at least that I've seen multiple times, is that Kevin Feige was about to say, we've already filmed the scene for Kang Dynasty. And because he stopped himself short of, and we've already, I was about to say a spoiler. I don't want to go into it.
Wow, he caught himself.
I think people are running with, I think they've already filmed. That's why they hired a director already. That's why they hired a writer. They got Jonathan Majors already. Like, they've already done counsel in one of the mid-credit scene. They've done Counsel of Kang. Which was awesome. That scene is so cool, dude.
Yeah, it's such a great scene.
But like, yeah, that's the running theory. Anyway, there was something I wanted to backtrack to in spoiler territory. I guess there was a cool moment with Hope where they're in the probability storm, right? And I love that.
The best part of the whole movie, I think.
I mean, that's such a creative. That's like the music note fight from
the
Doctor
whole
Strange.
Movie should have been series of like that caliber
of weird
of
stuff
ideas.
like that. Yes, because that is a Rick and Morty thing if I ever saw one. That is
so.
Time. Rick and Morty, and they should
have
leaned
one
hard
Baskin Robbins
into it.
One. That's a Rick and Morty joke where it's just like it's one like Rick that doesn't fit. Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much of that comedy.
Gamity. And then obviously Hope comes in at the last minute to help him, and that's when they all probabilities converge into one because they all make one determined choice to whatever to help each other.
For Hope, it was always Ant-Man, which I was like.
There's a lack of chemistry, and they've always kind of lacked chemistry, and maybe that's why they wrote them to be apart in the movie. But it just made those moments mean less instead of feel more powerful when they reunited. I just don't feel like they spent enough time.
By the end of this movie, I'm not going, boy, they're such an MCU power couple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they should be. They should be like an unstoppable force, like when they're together. When you think about,
they should feel like Hank and Janet felt in the comics. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they were staples of the Marvel comics, you know? Obviously, it's too late for them now. They're in the retirement ages.
Yeah.
Old people. So, I don't know, man. They definitely whiffed on that for sure. They definitely missed the mark on the whole ant family dynamic, which was what I was, other than Kang, probably looking forward to the most, was like the interplay. You know, I was missing that. But in this, you know, you had Hope and her parents split off primarily together through half of their Quantum Realm trek, and then you had Scott and Cassie. And it's not that I don't buy the chemistry between a father and daughter. It's just I just didn't really care. Like, we just didn't really see enough of it for me to care.
Even though, and they were together a lot of the movie, so it wasn't even like a case of like missing proximity, you know, like
right.
I just like at the end of it, she was kind of a shitty 19-year-old, you know, it was like, shut up, Dad, you don't understand me. I'm like, he saved the world. Why don't you pump the brakes a little bit?
Right.
And everything he did was like just annoying to her, and like that annoyed me the entire movie.
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't understand this dynamic at all.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
with you.
But I did enjoy a lot of the like Scott going into like dad mode type of stuff, which seems to be a lot of the criticisms I've seen too. Is just like, I didn't like all this dad stuff or whatever. I'm like, that's the stuff I really enjoyed, because Scott knows when it's not time to like crack a joke. He was really gonna like do the big stuff to like get his daughter back, you know, to make sure that everything kind of was right at the end.
Yeah,
and then made the big choice at the end to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Once you know he knew his daughter was safe. So you know, like it's just like you see a hero's journey there for him, where it's like, oh, he's still got it in him. You know, he's still that hero that saved the world all those years ago. But like it's so a background story that like
I was bringing that up on Current Gen, right? Where I said that the lead story at least should have been how Cassie Lang is behaving the way she is because of how her father led by example. Like, her father is this hero that helped. I mean, he helped bring back 50% of the fucking universe, man. He is such a big deal, and he didn't let his lack of being like a substantial Captain America type hero stop him from doing the right thing. So she is taking a lot of his actions in his past and using that to mold her actions in this movie. But they didn't really dive into that. Like, I'm just kind of piecing this together on my own, and the movie didn't really dive in. Like, they left a lot on the table.
It did.
In regards to like how she should have been having this speech with him about like, you're the reason I'm this way because you were a hero before, and now you just stopped being a hero. Like, you just wrote a book and you're content doing that. But there was no like motivational speech for Scott to be sucked back into the fold as a hero. He just followed his daughter around until she got in danger. That's it. You know, there should have been a like, come on, man, we got to fight. You literally saved the universe. What's to stop you from being a hero again? You know, like there was none of that. It was so jarring and weird to leave that out.
It's weird, yeah.
But anyway, I still like the actor that plays Cassie. She's great in that movie Freaky, where she swaps bodies with Vince Vaughn. She's so good in that. She's so freaking funny. Because she gets to play like Vince Vaughn gets to play a teenage girl stuck in a grown ass man's body, and she gets to play like a serial killer in her regular ass teenage girl body. It's so funny, dude.
Yeah, I like that movie.
That writer-director is something else, man. He did both Happy Death Days, and those are so fun as well. Anyway, I liked when Cassie and Scott both got huge together, and they were lamenting about like, I want something citrusy, and he's like, I know, and
I hate that joke so much.
Really?
Yeah, I don't get it. Because I know he like asked for orange slices like when he got big, and so I don't get what like.
It's a dehydration thing. Like, you're about to pass out, so it's you like when I did like flag football and shit like that when I was a kid. They'd always bring orange slices because it would hydrate you.
Yeah, I wasn't a sports guy. Yeah.
So it's something to do with like, I don't know, something to do with hydration and like not passing out or whatever.
I know it's an ongoing joke, and I'm just like, I don't like this fruit joke. They do this every time Scott's on the screen.
It is an odd one to double down on for sure, but I did like the fact that she was starting to pass out and like, I
like that they were like talking a little slower, and so like they were the biggest they'd ever been, or Scott is, or whatever.
It was so absurd that I think helped add to the humor.
Really, they're the smallest they've ever. You know what I mean? Like they're the biggest of the smallest they've ever been because of the quantum. I don't know. Don't think about it too much.
Yeah, don't think about it too much, guys. Yeah, it's definitely a don't think about that too much type movie. And I gotta bring up Bill Murray, and I thought he was used great. Like, I mean, this is as much Bill Murray as I wanted in a Marvel movie, honestly. Like,
it's so funny because this character in the comic books is a one and done character. He was like on 3 frames of one comic one time, like
wow,
for Ant-Man, and that's exactly how they used them in the movie. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's a good homage. That's such a practical homage.
right. And it's just the fact that what we know about Bill Murray nowadays and how like he is getting more and more difficult as he's aging on set. Like, he got like, you know how hard it is for. I think he just got like fired off the last Wes Anderson movie. You know how hard it is for Wes Anderson to fire somebody he's worked with multiple times? Like,
I didn't know he got fired off the Wes Anderson.
I'm pretty sure it was a Wes Anderson movie, wasn't it? Asteroid City.
That's his boy. That's his. They're boys. I know. They're compadres.
It was something happened recently. Yes. Oh, he contracted COVID before he could shoot his scenes. That's what it was. That's what the story is.
I know he got kicked off of something for being problematic.
He did. It was like a recent movie, and it was an ensemble piece too. I can't remember what it was. But the point is that people are just becoming less and less tolerant of the assholery that he brings to his set.
Yeah.
Which is, I think he's just getting worse as he ages. But it happens to people when they age. Like, they get a little more rude. They recognize that they're on their way out the door. They start behaving a certain way. I get it. It's like an opposite. It's like a weird honeymoon phase type thing.
Yeah.
So they used him the right amount in that sense too.
And he's funny
professionally. Yeah, and he's quite funny. And I like that when it's kind of the same thing with I felt about Paul Rudd in the movie. When he had to get serious and start making threats, I believed it.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with Paul Rudd when he was in a precarious situation with Kang, and Kang was threatening Cassie, and Paul Rudd had to turn on the serious face. And
that's the dad moment.
He's delivering. Like, oh my god,
like hardcore protector.
Right?
Like, he's not the goofy guy who gets really small right now. He's serious business.
Yeah, exactly. Even in Endgame, he wasn't really that serious. Like, because it wasn't.
No. Hey guys, I'm out here. The time travel. Yeah.
Pretty sure I was a baby at one point.
Yeah. Did someone poop my pants? Or whatever that joke was.
Yeah. Oh man. God,
I do like Kang. We haven't talked about Kang too much. I just really liked everything.
Oh, there was a thing that you were gonna bring up about something that he said. That...
When he gets so flustered at the end, because he's just like, he's not. First off, he's not fully powered, which is I see a lot of criticisms where it's like, I can't believe Ant-Man beats him in this movie. Well, Kang is a mortal human. You know what I mean? Like that's King Prime is like he's a dude who learned how to get technology to go back in time and just started like manipulating time, and it just started causing wackadoo, like universes and stuff like that. So if you imprison him somewhere where time doesn't matter, he doesn't have his powers. You know what I mean? He doesn't have like his tech doesn't work, and so like he's just a guy who's really strong down there, and he had whatever that was on him. Some kind of suit that allowed him to like shoot beams and be telepathic and stuff like that. But like once all that gets ripped off of him, like you're just a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, like,
and that's
the end of the movie.
I like the fist fight, even though
I love it when big stake movies or perceivably big stake movies, end in just kind of like two dudes like fist fighting or sword fighting or something.
I'm like, both of them had their suits damaged to a degree that neither could use their powers anymore. So it was just two guys pissed off and fighting each other.
Yeah, you got to finish the fight. Yeah.
That felt very personal.
It's one trope I'm not going to tire of. So that part like worked for me. But like, and then the way that like they take care of him, they take care of him in such a way where like they explain all movie that this is like a source of like time travel and manipulation and stuff like that. So for him to get killed by it, really it like this dude's totally popping back up later at some point, in my opinion. He's more powerful, maybe maybe he got sucked further into like another, quantum the quantum realm, the quantum squared realm, But he got sucked into something, and like he even gets sucked in exactly kind of in a similar CG style that like Red Skull does, not unlike the way Darren also gets kind of sucked into the quantum realm when he's like, getting twisted up and getting thrown out at the end of the first Ant-Man.
Kind of getting like, I can't remember the exact scene. I did not watch the movies again before I saw Quantumania, but I remember that it was like you could definitely see his body contorting.
Yeah.
In that scene as he's getting like kind of sucked into the quantum area. And back then, what they knew about the quantum realm was like, oh, you go there, you're not coming back, brother. Let me tell you something. Like,
I don't know if it's real.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah, I actually did like the way that they played that out.
Yeah.
At least as a callback. That was pretty refreshing and actually smart way to deal with that. But yeah, with Kang, were you gonna talk about?
I was just
like
saying,
his...
like, so it just seems obvious to me that he was sucked in somewhere. Like,
oh yes, yeah.
He didn't get killed. Like, and they said the whole movie they're setting up. It's like, all the other ones are afraid of me, and even at the end, the guys are like, glad that guy's out of here. He was crazy, right? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like
people are gonna be like, people are gonna be so disappointed when they realize that mid-credit scene that you're talking about, the Council of Kangs, are just being set up to be murdered by Prime Kang.
Yeah, right. He's gonna come back and murder them so hard.
I wanted to see more of Lizard Kang. Well, he's dead now. They're all dead.
Yeah, right.
Brutal.
What's gonna happen to that whole Council of Kangs? They're gonna get killed. I'll tell you that.
It's a red herring, my dudes. It is. They are 100% all getting killed, so he can be the only Kang. Because that's his thing too. Is that I get from the movie is that what's driving him is to be the sole conqueror, I guess. I mean, obviously that's his name. But,
well, and another ongoing theory is, and in the comics are not the same, but like that he and the man at the end of the world or whatever his name is,
He Who Remains or whatever.
Yeah, He Who Remains are the same person. And that's like after he is done correcting everything, he retires there, and that's the end of the circle. You know what I mean? You know, they already implied that they're all different and everything like that. But like also, and them being different, they're also the same because the variants exist because of his like time traveling capers and stuff like that. So it's
they mention already multiple times about how different time operates when you go into the quantum realm. In Endgame, they had this whole obviously experiment scene where they're trying to figure out how to get in the past. Maybe he did get spit out back in the past somewhere to be able to hone his abilities and, be able to actually go to the council whenever it's time and obliterate all of them. That's the path I feel like you and I are expecting the most, is like him just wreaking havoc on the council. Maybe even in the opening scene of fucking Avengers Kang Dynasty is like
it'd
him
be
just
so cool
obliterating
if that's how it opened. I think maybe you get a little bit of them, but like I would think it would be so metal if like it would opens up and they're like, all right, we're gonna move in on the Avengers now, and like Kang like busts out of the quantum realm and just vaporizes everybody. And then like winds back time and then does it again. That's an opening, man.
We're like fantasy booking Kang's Reign of Destruction, and I'm all about it, dude. I really just want to see this guy be way more destructive visually than Thanos, because Thanos, you just kind of had to trust that he did the damage. Like, I mean,
he's like, I just came back from killing a lot of people. You're like, oh. And then he just up to nowhere, and like he's like, actually, I already killed everybody. You're like, God, like
the Xandar planet with Glenn Close and like John C. Reilly.
Like, no, they're dead. They're
all dead.
But even on nowhere, he's like, all right, psych, I had the reality gem on. They're all dead already. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I just want to see you go ham on one planet, And then it's like, hey, we landed on Titan. What happened here? Thanos says, well, I destroyed all of it. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Not one planet do we see him destroy anything.
And when he snapped, and yes, we saw people get like dusted on Earth, but then we had to hear Carol Danvers say what happened on Earth happened on other places.
Everywhere. I'm like, I guess I gotta believe you. I've seen you in one movie, but whatever. I guess I trust you.
So funny. So I definitely want to see some more visceral destruction. Not obviously within the PG-13 confines, but that the MCU.
Let's go R.
They can still do it. They could. Yeah, let's go hard R.
Who cares?
He's just zapping dicks off with his hand. But yeah, Kang delivered big time for me. And some people had an issue with the whole like, ants swarmed him, but
it's stupid. But like I get it. Like they set it up. They set it up. Like
that they did for sure.
And also that's a very Rick and Morty thing. Like, oh yeah, those ants, they kind of hit some time dilation. And their species grew with 1,000,000 years in a day, and now they're the most sophisticated. I'm like, yeah, I saw that on Intergalactic Satellite episode or whatever.
Rick and Morty premise.
But I like that. That's one time where it reminded me of Rick and Morty. I'm like, oh, but this works for me.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that might rub people the wrong way, especially because it's a very Ant-Man movie ending to a movie that didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie.
The biggest MacGuffin ever saves them at the end.
Right.
But at least they set it up.
It was the second time to happen in the course of 10 minutes, because before that, Scott Lang wasn't sure if I think it was Cassie delivering the message right to the rebels and the civilians and saying you got to fight. before that, we weren't sure they were going to show up, and then they did because it's a Marvel movie. Everybody's got to show up to save the day, right? And I'm like, oh, we're doing this again. The thing that they always do, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy did it. Like I think they were one of the first ones to do it, where the Xandarians, they were not sure if the Nova Corps was going to help them, right? And then they show up he got my dick message, all that stuff. Same exact thing, literally same exact thing.
Yeah,
except they do it twice in this movie. They do it twice with the fucking
Call to arms.
It's crazy.
We have to go save Tribal Lady. You know, I'm like, who? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, she delivered an exposition dump back in Act 1. I'm like, that was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Oh, was that the Holes person? Oh, it wasn't. Then I don't care.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if it wasn't one of the weird ones, I don't care. Exactly. You were like some Horizon Zero Dawn reject.
Yeah, she's literally a Horizon Zero Dawn tribe reject, and like, dude, have a better story.
And she's the only one who looks like that. So I'm like, what?
How did you get here?
Are y'all all native to here? Like, because y'all are all extremely humanoid except for Broccoli guy and Goopy guy. Everybody else is like insanely human, you know. So like that was super weird too.
How the Broccoli guy keeps popping up randomly and random shots.
Super Rick and Morty joke. That's 100% Rick and Morty.
Yeah. I actually did really like the alien and creature design and some of the set design, even if it was mostly CG. So I got to commend them for that. But at the same time, if you think about it for like 2 seconds, you're like, how did they fucking get there? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then like there's one where it's like, oh, our buildings are alive. And it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. And it's like, oh, your buildings are dead. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then nothing else is weird like that in the entire movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's our one weird world. Everything else works exactly the same.
That's,
like water
that's the
systems.
lack of world building we were talking about for sure.
Yeah. So
I still wasn't. I didn't all that ant stuff to say. I didn't mind that he got taken down by a ton of because there was a lot of ants.
And they
suit was fucked,
that they're
right?
Like
his suit was
smart,
totally gone by that point. So like I did not like blink like when that happened. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Well, and they go it showcases multiple times that he's super overconfident. Like he's been down there stewing on this plan for a while, and he's just like spinning his gears and like. He's just within reach. He gets super arrogant, moves a little too quickly. It's basic bad guy folly stuff. But like, as long as you're keeping him on the table, you know what I mean? Which I think he is. You know, if I had to take a guess, that like I don't mind that there's like a folly because then he comes back twice as pissed off next time. Be like,
oh yeah,
I'm not letting a bunch of stupid ants, kill me this time, and you're all ants to me or whatever. And he delivers some ants, monologue and then murders a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you talk to ants. I love that. That's so good. Literally calls out the thing the audience is thinking. Man, that's so great.
You're so out of your league here, buddy.
Yeah.
I like the Thor joke a lot.
Oh yeah,
like, are you the guy with the hammer? He's like, no, we get mixed up a lot though. Same as I'm like, it's pretty funny. You're funny. You're a funny guy. You.
The Crow. Oh my god. Sorry, that's a dudesy joke. If anybody's listening and very confused about the Robert De Niro saying the Crow for some reason.
I'm a crow.
You gotta do nose breathe. That's De Niro. It's like we had De Niro on the podcast.
He was here. He was here to talk about these dumb movies. So
I also, I think I mentioned this on Current Gen. I like having and Josh Brolin did great as Thanos, and the CG looked great for him, in my opinion. Yep. I like having a human acting again, and they didn't.
Yeah,
you see his face. The blue thing is a helmet, so we don't. It's not a blue face thing.
No, it's like an overlay. Like I don't know, it's an overlay or something like that. It's cool. Yeah.
It's pretty smart. It's a smart way to do it, especially because Jonathan Majors' face is very expressive, to the point where like he's so good at playing angry that he's so angry that he cries. Like that happened in one of the scenes at the end where he's talking about his plan and he's so full of rage that there's tears.
That's the scene I'm talking about, like where it kind of winds up. He gets so flustered by everything at the end, and he's like thinking about how close he is to getting out and how he's just about to just kill a bunch of himself, when he gets out of here. Yeah. And he screams at Janet, and he's like, "I'm gonna burn them all out of time." And the way he delivers that line, and he like hits his fist, and he looks down. There's just so much emotion in his face. I'm just like, boy, I can't wait to see that.
I haven't seen for real, and I haven't seen an actor, and I feel like he's gonna do this in Creed 3 as well. His character just has like intimidating presence in the trailers and stuff. But I haven't seen an actor do that rageful cry type thing, even though it's not like bawling. It's just he's so mad that a tear comes out. Like it's that subtle thing. I don't know that I've seen that, and certainly not a comic movie. Like
he does it a lot in the cowboy movie.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he's so good in that movie.
He brings all of himself to every freaking role, dude. I haven't seen a Jonathan Majors role yet, and I think one of the first ones that we saw was Lovecraft Country, right?
It's so funny because when I was watching that show, I was like, I bet this guy could be something, and then literally he never stopped being in things, and like I kind of feel like an asshole where I'm just like, this kid's gonna make it, and it's so like talent is talent, man.
He was in Hostiles with Christian Bale and Rosamund Pike.
I forget him in that movie.
He was just one of the corporals. He wasn't a major part, but that was his first movie, 2017. This dude is a little bit close to our age.
And he's acting across from Christian Bale in like a pretty spectacular Western movie.
Yeah, talk about nailing an audition, right? And don't get me wrong, he hasn't been in like all great movies. There are some movies like Captive State. Remember that movie? That was like
No, I didn't see that one.
John Goodman was in it. It was supposed to be like a sci-fi
It's like Aliens,
thriller.
right?
Yeah.
Like they came down and took over.
They took over the world, right?
And like it's about like fighting back. Yeah, I bet he's great in it.
That's right. He was in Defy Bloods. He was one of the younger guys in the flashbacks. He's so freaking good, wasn't he? Or no, I guess he was one of the leads. All right, whatever. Anyway, he's great in everything, and I feel like it was like Defy Bloods followed by The Harder They Fall, and now it's like, okay, I'm only gonna do good stuff now. How about that? Like,
yeah.
He's just been delivering, dude. Yeah, he's just an immense talent, and I'm pretty much convinced that he's like one of our best at working actors today. Certainly of our generation, like to come from the millennial generation. Just everything I see him in is just like, holy shit, this guy.
He's out of this world. He's like the actor of our generation for sure.
Definitely.
And he's just getting started, which is
that's the most exciting part. Is like
got a lot of career.
As we were saying, I think we said this on the Courage Ed podcast. Like, this guy can totally show up in multiple movies. He doesn't need to be a Thanos hiding away somewhere. He could be a villain.
You could kill a king in every movie. If you really wanted to. Yeah.
If you wanted to, they won't. But and also there was something I read. I think Feige said in an interview that Fantastic Four is going to end up being like more of a staple for the MCU. Just based on the current trajectory of the MCU and the multiverse and stuff. And I'm like, oh, so they're going to do the Nathaniel Richards thing, huh? That's going to be awesome.
It is. They're 1,000% going to reveal that he's Nathaniel Richards. If he didn't already say, I have to go back and watch that last episode of Loki, because he may even drop that. Some guy named Nathaniel Richards created a mission. I don't know. Like, I'll have to go back and actually watch that episode. Maybe they already dropped that name. But I'm telling you, that's what they're setting up here. And I'm telling you, Dr. Doom is going to be pulling.
Oh, man.
Just pulling the string the entire time. He's going to be just some guys manipulating multiple gods of time.
Now we're on theories and stuff. Do you think that Dr. Doom, yes, he's going to have a presence, but he's not going to be the big... Kang will be the big bad, right?
Yeah. It's revealed at the end of it all, though, that like Dr. Doom is like, I don't know how they're going to play it off.
He's the smart guy pulling the strings, and he's not really the action guy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'll have his, I'll have to go take care of it myself, scene or whatever.
Do you think that's what is that what Secret Wars is? Like, does he
he has a major force in that, and like at the end of it all, like he's kind of working on a level above, and that's like what like cements him as such a like amazing bad guy. Is like, the fuck was this guy outsmarting 1,000 Kangs who like have the ability to time travel and know if you're like it's kind of impressive, and it's just like he's just some dude from like Bratislava or whatever that native country is called.
Yeah, this Latvia? No, Latvia's real place. I don't know.
Yeah, Sokovia.
I don't know.
It's gonna be super cool, and he's my favorite villain like ever. He's
for sure.
He is like the poster villain for me. So
like,
and he's
Thanos
never been
is great. But yeah, it's always been like, when are we gonna get Dr. Doom, man? And Magneto, like, I mean, those are like the top guys, right? Like, especially after
Magneto was the hero all along, dude.
How are you gonna? Yeah, Magneto did nothing. Hashtag Magneto was right.
Hashtag Magneto was right.
How are they gonna do? I don't know how you do Magneto without Michael Fassbender now, because he was so good in that role to me. Again, talk about somebody I believed. I believe what I'm saying. I believe that he thought society was shitting on mutants.
Maybe you can bring those guys back.
That would be awesome.
It sounds like Giancarlo Esposito's lined up to play
Professor X.
Professor X. You know, that'd
be amazing.
I mean, he says like, yeah, I had a meeting about it, and like, I don't, you know, that doesn't really mean anything, but like, it felt like a slip to me, where I'm like,
well, even Jonathan Major said, yeah, I had meetings with Marvel, and they made me wait, so I left. I
heard that too. Yeah, he was like, I'm not waiting for this.
The balls on this guy. It's so good. That's awesome.
And now he's like, now he's the dude. You know,
now he's the guy. Like, we got to get you in this thing, man. No, you're too good. Yeah. I think I brought this up. I put notes down, and I've just now referred to them. I think I brought this up with you in a chat about like Ant-Man's trajectory since Endgame was that he was the catalyst for saving the world in Endgame, and in Quantumania he could be the catalyst for dooming the world again.
Yeah, because Kang promises if you don't let me out of here, you're all gonna die. Like it's just like I'm the one who's stopping the death. Right. I'm not the death, which is kind of interesting. I was like, ooh, they're doing he's not the true bad guy twist or whatever, you know. There's a greater evil at play or whatever. Yeah. Which I like. I'm always a big fan of that if they can pull that off. But yeah, that's an interesting point because like he did unlock some kind of weird shit that's going to be happening going forward, Ant-Man, you know. Yeah. So it's like, and it's all because of his use of the quantum realm too. So it all kind of comes back to
full circle. Man's folly. It's really his fault for getting in Kang's way because like he could have just, you know, I mean, not that he knew what Cassie was doing, but you know, all it took was one signal, That's it for like 5 seconds, and that was enough to, you know, get Kang to have a vendetta against the whole world, basically. Yeah. Now that Ant-Man pissed him off.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, he's really mad.
This,
and
this ride
like when he comes back and he's like, and I'm coming for you, Ant-Man. All the Avengers are standing there. They're like, him? The guy who grows big?
Like if they all turn around and they're like, does he not know what you do as a power? Like, I don't understand.
That's who you're coming back for revenge for?
That'd be really funny, actually, if they did that. Like big villain speech, and at the end he's like, Ant-Man, you will rue the day.
Yeah. Like, and it's all because of you, Ant-Man. This guy? Yeah, I'd crack up. That'd be great.
Anyway, so that's I don't have anything else.
You liked it. Sounds like we liked it.
We liked it. We liked it. We had fun with it. I'm certainly gonna watch that final scene again. So I'm gonna close out the show recapping the top 5 from the box office this weekend domestically in the U.S. So number 5 we got M. Night Shyamalan, Knock at the Cabin. Number 5. Number 4, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, still hanging strong. Man, good for the
true hero.
It was 5 last week. It jumped up. That's really cool. It's a great movie. I'm gonna be honest. Number 3 is Magic Mike's Last Dance. It's not nearly. At least with like the first one, you had like an ensemble cast, and in this one, it's like it's Channing Tatum and Salma Hayek. Have fun. Like that's it. It's just 2 people.
Yeah, right.
So.
I hear they have no chemistry as well, so that's pretty fun.
Oh, really? That probably would explain the review score being so low. It's like the movie hinges on their chemistry and it doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate. I don't know how you don't have chemistry with Salma Hayek. That's crazy. But number two is Avatar: The Way of Water. Nobody cares. Number 1. Number 1 is with 106 million over the weekend. Was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah.
So Disney's just cleaning up at the box office right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, with that and don't forget Avatar.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And then they did actually. This would have been number 3 last week, but thank goodness we took a bye week. Titanic did re-release for a 25-year anniversary, and it was number 3 last week.
Shut up.
We would have raged so hard having to list 2 back-to-back.
I'm not the rage right now, to be honest. I have to even relive it in retrospect. This is awful.
Oh, that movie's so
Guys, stop seeing that movie.
Yeah, it's just not.
You've seen it. You've seen it. Quit it. It's not that great.
Knock it off.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's just not that great.
Yeah, it's not good, not great.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's probably the most overrated piece of shit in the entire.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it is.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's dookie, you know. No, it's fine. People really, God, James Cameron.
I don't get it, dude. You know, I don't get this monopoly that he has on the box office. It's so crazy to me.
what is his algorithm that he
I
is
don't
using
know.
to like get people to like see movies? It's
every
good
time
for
I'm
him,
like,
man.
every
I
time
don't
I
want to
start
like.
to understand it, and it's like, oh, it's like event view. It's like they're event movies, like they're big events. And I'm
And
like,
like
but
something
MCU
changed.
movies are that
Like
too.
it was
What
it
the hell?
Terminator 2? Everyone's like, dude, we're all in on this guy because like no, like the Abyss didn't get treated like this. Where people,
Yeah.
dude, have you seen the Abyss, man? Ed
Yeah.
Harris is so. No one talks about. No one knows what that movie is. You know, like.
Yeah.
So I just, and what's his other movie that he did with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Did you do the first? Oh, True Lies.
True Lies. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, is that when? Like, I don't know when it switched where everyone's just like, this guy, we're always gonna go see his movies. But
I feel like
whatever.
it was Titanic. Like, I really do feel like it was Titanic because, I mean, especially because they're re-releasing it for crying out loud. But like, yeah, that movie like broke all the records, and then it became Titanic. After Titanic was Avatar, right? Like, he took that long of a break.
You don't think Terminator's in the equation? Because Terminator
I don't think so.
I think it gets talked about like it's the greatest action movie of all time.
As it should be. I mean, it is. It's
sure,
great.
Yeah. But like, I feel like its legacy is so strong that like that maybe that's what got people. I mean, I don't know what the Venn diagram
I'm sure that's what got studios to be like, all right, we got to stop giving this guy crap. We got to give him everything he wants.
Yeah. I don't know what the Venn diagram is of like Terminator fans and Titanic fans, but
I know.
Like, I saw Terminator.
But
I gotta Titanic, see that shit movie, bro.
It was like cross generational, right? There were so many like hella old people in the I remember because I was like in I think I was in elementary school when it came out.
Yeah.
But I still went to theater and saw it with like my mom.
Like, in the
packed.
6th grade there was a curriculum about the Titanic, like in English or something. So it's like, and it came out around that time for me. So
I was in the theater, watched it with my mom, and it was just packed full of like old people crying the whole movie. So it spoke to many generations, and the hopeless romantics that were like around my age that had an unrealistic life.
The girl kills that dude at the end of the movie. She lets him drown in that water when it's not romantic at all. There's nothing romantic. So
romantic. I'll never let go. Just kidding. Bye.
Yeah. She has to like break his frozen hand off of it. Like their hands are like frozen together, and she's like,
"Would have been hilarious if she started like, stop it, let go, stop it."
It's not romantic at all. That movie's about how she cheats on her husband.
Yeah, and I get it. Billy Zane is the worst, but like,
but also he's super dreamy.
Yeah, Billy Zane with hair. Like, you don't mess around. It's funny though, because like Titanic was out at sea for a few days, right? What, like 12 days, 11 days? You're telling me you really formed that strong of a connection with somebody younger than you for
I don't know,
12 days and in a never let go capacity?
I've known you for 20 years, Jeff. I'm not banging you in the back of a Model T. Okay, like it's just not gonna happen.
I would try at best to make room for you on a door raft, a makeshift. But if there's no room,
I would at least try that. I feel like that's common courtesy.
If there's no room, I'd be like.
But we didn't form a banging connection in the back of a Model T, and I've known you a long time, and they've known each other hours, and she's like, I want to run away with you together in America.
And you know what?
You gross Irish third class weirdo.
In Titanic era Leo, look, I get it. Women were all over that. I get it.
Sure, I still get it.
He hasn't aged out of that mindset.
I still get, but people still like. He's still a player, man. That guy's still, people still like him.
I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, it was just somebody watching a clock go from 11:59 to midnight, and it was like Leo waiting for his girlfriend to turn 18. I was like, good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a little problematic, but I'm sure he checks IDs on like some of our favorite comedians. So
he's probably careful. Yeah. Whereas some people.
Yeah, I'm not like saying that the bachelor lifestyle is moral, but he wears it all right. So.
Oh yeah. I think he's sleeping fine. Yeah, Anyway,
he's saving the world or something, guys, in his private jet.
He's got a that's how you divert the conversation topic. You go, but climate change. I'm
but I did the whole thing down in that country where I
did a documentary about ice melting. Did you see it? So we're good here, right? I can go bang this 19-year-old. We're good. All right.
Right. I can bang the entire like Russian ballerina like I'm freaking Batman and Batman.
I own the place. I'm gonna go bathe in this fountain. Anyway, that does it for Leo talk.
I'm really glad Titanic got us anyways. That's
I know.
Good for you.
Good for you. You come in here. Look at the iceberg. That's how I imagine him doing it, because all we have is audio. I imagine him imitating the cinematographer's walk, and he's going, That's what I have in my head. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know how you'd be on the set and not laugh hysterically when he does some of that stuff.
Maybe that lighting guy was being an asshole, too, man. You know, like, how hard is your job, dude?
For real. I mean, how are you going to walk? I mean...
He broke character. Like, he doesn't do that. Like, you really pissed that dude off.
Yeah. I know that the rant was super long, and so was Tom Cruise's rant whenever he ranted at somebody about COVID. Remember that?
Oh, the COVID? That's so legendary. Yeah. I loved it.
It was a great rant, but at like the 4-minute mark, you're like, all right, dude, can we wrap up the rant?
They get it, yeah.
Like, we got to move on. It was the same thing for Christian Bale. Like, I felt for him in the moment where, like,
yeah,
dude, that is super unprofessional. You literally heard the director say, and we're rolling. And you're in the background setting up lights. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But then he kept going.
Yeah, he kept going. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty problematic. Yeah. But I get it, dude.
I get
people at work piss me off all the time. I don't go on giant rants about it, but in my head, I'm like,
yeah, then I'd be fired.
Absolute moron.
Yeah. Exactly. You wait until you hang up, and then you go, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Not you, Deborah. You know.
Not you. You're good.
To your cubicle mate. Yeah.
Exactly. Or you just give the finger to your phone. That's my go-to, so nobody knows. I even do that with people walking by. People walk by my cube, and I'll just like give them the finger, and they walk by. They don't see it. I'm admitting a little too much right here. But there's this guy I work with who, like, he walks around all day. I swear to God, I don't talk to him. I've never talked to him once. Mm-hmm. He walks around all day, and he has kind of a smug look on his face that makes you go, oh.
Yeah, sure. Flip off worthy.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm convinced he doesn't do any work. He just walks around all day. All day. And I'm like, just stay at your desk, you fucking lazy prick. And it just makes me flip him off every time he walks by my desk. I don't know.
We have one HR fan who's like, who works at HR, who's just like, this is a nightmare. He cannot be saying this. You know, this is a legal nightmare. Yeah. He's flicking off customers. He's flicking off employees. He's a workplace risk, is what he is.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a workplace risk. I'm just one eyeball line away from being caught flipping off somebody, basically. That's it.
Just one glance down. Like, hey!
Yeah. Hey, was that a middle finger? No, I just had an itch. Or just itching it with my finger. Anyway, thanks for listening to those of you that listened. And drop us your thoughts on this movie, because this is all over
what
the
you're
map.
thinking. And, and if you hated it, it's all right. It's cool.
It's all right. I'd like to just talk about specifics, though, about why people might have hated it. Like, I mean, that's interesting to me.
I hated it because is a pretty good story.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I hear you, but it sucked. Like, don't just be not productive about it.
Or, and it wasn't an Ant-Man movie. We said that.
Yeah, we
covered that. Yeah.
So we'll be back next week with a normal format. I think I'll talk about Cocaine Bear. I'll probably just talk about that on the Current Gen podcast and maybe decide on something else for this podcast. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much
the whale. I'll have the whale lined up or something like that. So I'll have something newish to talk about.
And then we'll talk about something old that we're watching. And I'm going through like franchises right now of movies that I love, like Harry Potter and John Wick and stuff like that. And then to tie in with The Last of Us, we'll do like a pick 5 of this was your idea, underrated zombie movies. That's gonna be
underrated zombie movies. Yeah.
And I got to do some homework on that actually.
I did a little homework today.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Cool.
I'm talking about it. I probably won't talk about it next week. A little movie called Life After Beth with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Fido is a
little harder into the joke.
Fido is a better version of this movie.
Okay.
The movie that I
can't
hope
wait to see
that
that
you
movie.
get to.
Yeah. I do have that. I do have that in the queue for
Carrie
sure.
Ann Moss is awesome, and that cast is absolutely incredible in it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Carrie Ann Moss was it. That's great. The movies 3 of the 4 movies that I have in my list so far are like all recent movies, because like I don't know. I just historically don't watch old zombie movies, so
they're bad.
Yeah, they tend to be. Yeah, they can be.
Even the ones that like I like they live and like those movies are bad.
Yeah, but they're just fun. Yeah, exactly.
Fun, yeah. Dawn of the Dead, bad movie. That's a bad movie. The original. It's a super.
Oh, I haven't even seen the original. I've only watched the.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's
the
so
one
good.
I call the James Gunn one. Yeah, the James Gunn one.
Yeah,
not the
Zack Snyder one. Yeah, you'd be right about that.
Anyway, thanks for those of you that listen. You can follow us on current_cinema on Twitter if you want to. I don't really tweet that much. I really just tweet episodes and that's it. And we are on Letterboxd. I am jmwsongs, I think, on there, and Kyle is everchosen. But we do log movies there and stuff. Just
quick little reviews.
Very brief 1-2 sentence things. But that is a great social media platform for cinephiles and stuff.
Sometimes I'll literally just write, "I hated this."
Right.
Review. So
just
the thing that we told you not to do earlier, I do that sometimes.
Let me review. Let me read to you one of my reviews of. Let's see, what was it from? I'm trying to remember what year it was from. I think it was from 2020. It was the Tom and Jerry live action movie, and I literally. Wrote like the shortest possible. My God, dude! I just got to Google the movie. I wrote the shortest possible like one-line thing, and because sometimes you need to write a meme of a review. It just doesn't play well otherwise. Oh, here it is. My review is: if you're wondering why animals are cartoons in this very real life world, the answer is shut up and fuck you. That's my review of Tom. There was no explanation. It wasn't like Toontown and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. There was no explanation for why the cartoons were like cartoons. It just that bothered me the most about the movie. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. It's not like a.
They're not very thoughtful. They're not always, especially not for me. Yeah.
Oh boy. Anyway, for real, we're out of here. So thanks for listening, everybody, and.